9/11 presentation. Who did it? The group responsible was Al-Qaeda. The person in charge and who thought of the whole plan was Osama bin Laden. One of the goals of this group was killing Americans and Israelites. Background. Full name, Osama bin Mohammed bin Awad bin Laden. Born March 10, 1957. Died May 2, 2011. Saudi Arabian from 1957 to 1994. Stateless from 1994 until his death due to his terroristic tendencies. Religion, Islamic. Osama bin Laden was killed in Abbottabad, Pakistan on May 2, 2011, shortly after 1 a.m. local time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Codenamed Operation Neptune Spear, was ordered by President Barack Obama, carried out by the Navy SEALs. Beginning and history. Gave more than $600 million to Gulbuddin Hekmatyar, who worked closely with bin Laden. Founded in 1988 by Osama bin Laden, Abdullah Azzam, and several other members of the Arabian Volunteers during the Afghan-Soviet War. Began when the U.S. began to fund militant Arabs in the 1990s to combat Soviet forces known as Operation Cyclone.
You have declared a jihad against the United States. Can you tell us why?
The US government has committed acts that are extremely unjust, hideous, and criminal through its support of the Israeli occupation of Palestine. And we believe the US is directly responsible for those killed in Palestine, Lebanon, and Iraq. Due to its subordination to the Jews, the arrogance of the United States regime has reached the point that they occupied Arabia, the holiest place of the Muslims, who are more than 1 billion people in the world today. For this and other acts of aggression and injustice, we have declared jihad against the US.
Is the jihad directed against the US government or United States troops in Arabia? What about U.S. civilians in Arabia or the people of the United States?
We have focused our declaration of jihad on striking at the U.S. soldiers inside Arabia, the country of the two holy places, Mecca and Medina. In our religion, it is not permissible for any non-Muslim to stay in Arabia. Therefore, even though American civilians are not targeted in our plan, they must leave. We do not guarantee their safety.
How did they plan the attack? Everything started with bin Laden's desire to kill the Americans. To begin with, there was a meeting with Muhammad and Al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden at the mountain fortress in Tora Bora in 1996. Muhammad's nephew, named Ramzi Youssef, told him about a planned assassination of President Bill Clinton and Pope John Paul II. After capturing one terrorist, the U.S. got detailed information for another plan, which was to hijack an airliner and crash it into the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency headquarters in Langley, Virginia. Exact timeline. In 1994, the plan to kill the Pope was set for January of 1995, but was prevented. Many terrorists gather in Germany, and in 1998, recruitment of terrorists began. 1998, Bill Clinton was warned that bin Laden was preparing to hijack U.S. aircrafts within the U.S. 1999, Hamburg cell is fully formed and established in Germany, which was a base that was a key element in the attack. 1999, Germany is able to hear many conversations with the hijackers and shares the information with the CIA. 1999, 3 of the hijackers get U.S. visas, and Hani Hanjour gets a pilot's license. 1999, Bill Clinton is warned that potential hijackers live in the U.S. NSA informed CIA about the Al-Qaeda planned summit which involved potential hijackers. All the remaining hijackers are able to get into the U.S. Information the U.S. had leading up to the attacks. In October 12, 2000, the FBI and NCIS special agents investigated Al-Qaeda's bombing of the USS Cole. The FBI and CIA both had information on the Al-Qaeda potential terrorist attacks, and when questioned on it, both said they didn't know anything. After the attacks of 9/11, the CIA shared surveillance pictures that they had over a year before the attack, and they turned out to be of a 9/11 planning meeting. Other information that was not shared was that Mihdhar, who was part of the plan, was intending to fly to the U.S. Why was the World Trade Center a target? The Twin Towers were iconic structures that represented the U.S. Not only were these towers the tallest buildings in New York City, they also symbolized America's wealth and prosperity and how far this country has come. These towers stood providing over 430 companies office space. Around 35,000 people worked in these offices on a daily basis. Flight 11 was a Boeing 767 leaving from Boston Logan International Airport to Los Angeles LA International Airport. It departed at 7:59 a.m., carrying 81 passengers and 11 crew members. It was hijacked by 5 hijackers, and the planes ended up between floor 93 and 99 of the North Tower. Flight 175 was a Boeing 767 leaving from Boston Logan International Airport to Los Angeles LA International Airport. It departed at 8:14, carrying 56 passengers and 9 crew members. It was hijacked by 5 hijackers and ended up in the South Tower between floor 77 and 85.
The inside.
Which building are we talking about? The one that's westernmost?
Let's see. Yes, sir.
Did you hear the explosion from
yes.
your position?
Yes, we did. As a matter of fact, we heard it, and because I was just like standing there, pretty much looking out the window, I didn't see what caused it or if there was an impact.
So you have no idea right now?
Oh, there's another one. Another plane just hit. Right. Oh my God! Another plane has just hit. It hit another building. Flew right into the middle of it. Explosion. My God! It's right in the middle of the building.
This one into the East Tower.
Yes. Yes. Right in the middle of the building. And right now, that was definitely looked like it was on purpose.
You saw a
yes,
plane?
Yes, I just saw a plane go into the building.
Flight 77 was a Boeing 757 leaving from Dulles, Virginia, Washington Dulles International Airport to Los Angeles, LA International Airport. It departed at 8:20, carrying 58 passengers and 6 crew members. It was hijacked by 5 hijackers and ended up crashing into the west side of the Pentagon. Flight 93 was a Boeing 757 leaving from Newark, New Jersey, Newark International Airport, towards San Francisco, California, San Francisco International Airport. It departed at 8:42, carrying 37 passengers and 7 crew members. It was hijacked by 4 hijackers, and it crashed into a Pennsylvania field after passengers fought in the cockpit. The first person on the ground to know was a lone air traffic controller. He said he was in a windowless room when he noticed that the plane icon was moving in the wrong direction on his radar screen. 10 minutes after first trying to make contact, he gets a response from someone on the plane. This person said, "We have some planes. Just stay quiet and you'll be okay. We are returning to the airport." Moments later, the plane crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. U.S. Air Defense on 9/11. New York Air National Guard Major Jeremy Powell was the first military person to learn about the hijackings. Ben Sliney ordered all planes in the U.S. to be grounded immediately until further notice. At the time, the National Guard were taking part in the training exercise known as Vigilant Guardian during the 9/11 attacks. NEADS, Northeast Air Defense Sector, believed at the time that 9/11 was part of that exercise, and when they finally realized it was a real-world scenario, it was too late. Discussions taken that day by the U.S. Air Defense. Several airplane hijackings were reported to the U.S. Air Defense on 9/11. A total of about 20 reports were being investigated, and it turned to all be false. Only the first 4 reports were true. There were discussions being taken of the fighter pilots going kamikaze and making the ultimate sacrifice by stopping the hijacked planes using their planes. The involvement of the Pentagon. Flight 77 crashed into the Pentagon. At 9:38 a.m. on September 11, 2001, a military cargo plane radios controllers at Reagan National Airport to report that American Airlines Flight 77 has crashed into the Pentagon. Conspiracy theories. Some believe that the Pentagon was never hit by Flight 77 because skid marks were never found on the scene. Using realized data from American Flight 77, some scientists ruled it impossible for the plane to hit the Pentagon without leaving skid marks on the ground. The part of the Pentagon that was actually attacked was under construction. Involvement in 9/11 plus lead to Bush conspiracy theory. Cumulative deaths of 2,977. 2 commercial airline planes crashed into the World Trade Center, a third into the Pentagon, and the fourth one crashed into a field within Pennsylvania. Deadliest foreign attack on U.S. soil since Pearl Harbor. Original targets were nuclear power plants. The President of the United States, George W. Bush, needed a reason to attack and invade Iraq and Afghanistan to obtain resources, so he arranged the September 11th attacks to justify his actions. 343 firefighters of the New York City Fire Department were present on that day. Engine 54, Ladder 4, Battalion 9, and Midtown suffered the greatest loss on September 11th. They tried to rescue 25,000 to 50,000 civilians. They all rushed into the unknown as they had no solid information about the damage inside the Twin Towers.
This nation stands with the good people of New York City and New Jersey and Connecticut as we mourn the loss of thousands of our citizens. I can hear you. I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you. And the people who knocked these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
Obstacles of firefighters. Firefighters had trouble completing their grueling task with their clothing that was inadequate for the daunting job. They were exhausted and had trouble with the communications. More firefighters died in the South Tower after they had no time to flee. Firefighters in the North Tower delayed their own evacuation to save more lives. North Tower collapsed, killing all of the firefighters before they could all get out. 9/11 firefighter story. Charles Singleton first heard announcements in the radio about the tower going to collapse. I felt as if I wasn't really doing the job that I came to do, Singleton recalled.
You okay? Yeah.
Please. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Watch out. I got
it. Effects of the aftermath of 9/11. New York firefighters are at risk for cardiovascular disease, which include heart attack, stroke, and unstable angina, coronary artery surgery, and angioplasty. Those who worked at the site for 6 months or more had a 30% higher risk of cardiovascular disease. Mental health conditions, musculoskeletal disorders, and certain cancers are being linked to the fumes, fires, and other debris of the 9/11 attacks. First responders, police. Rescue dogs were a large part of the rescue effort. They were tasked with sniffing out obscured survivors among the rubble and reaching places that the officers couldn't. 9/11 victim and compensation. The Remember 9/11 Health Act was introduced on February 2, 2005. The Remember 9/11 Health Act was to provide protections and services to certain individuals after the terrorist attack on September 11, 2001 in New York City, the state of New York. The September 11th Victim Compensation Fund was created to compensate the victims of the attack in exchange for their agreement not to sue the airline corporations involved. The 9/11 Victim Compensation Fund was founded in 2001.
343 firefighters. The official FDNY response time to 9/11 was 5 seconds. 5 seconds. That's how long it took for FDNY, for NYPD, for Port Authority, for EMS to respond to an urgent need from the public. 5 seconds. Hundreds died in an instant. Thousands more poured in. to continue to fight for their brothers and sisters. The breathing problem started almost immediately, and they were told they weren't sick, they were crazy. And then, as the illnesses got worse and things became more apparent, well, okay, you're sick, but it's not from the pile. And then, when the science became irrefutable, okay, it's the pile. But this is a New York issue. I don't know if we have the money. And I'm sorry if I sound angry and undiplomatic, but I'm angry. And you should be too, and they're all angry as well. And they have every justification to be that way.
Photos of the rubble after the attacks. Items left behind. A firefighter found a Bible fused to a piece of metal on March 30th, 2002. This American Airlines flight attendant pin belonged to Corinne Ramsey. She was working aboard Flight 11, which crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. Cleanup process. Much caution had to be taken since the wreckage was a precarious mess of twisted steel, metal, concrete, and debris, which could shift at any time. Cleanup finished in May 2002. A total of 1.8 million tons of material was removed and relocated. When the cleanup was finished, Americans turned their attention to the future of the World Trade Center site. The National September 11th Memorial. An international competition in 2003 asked for a design for a national memorial to honor those who died in 9/11. The winning design was two large waterfalls and reflecting pools set within the footprints of the fallen Twin Towers. Around the pool is engraved the names of about 3,000 people killed in 9/11.